Am I the a-hole for taking my wife's gift? I've been going through a lot, so I will try to make this as brief as possible. I 36M have been married to my wife 37F for almost 7 years, but we've been together for 10. We've had very high highs and very low lows. Things have been worse in the past than they are now. My wife has a temper and I tend to shut down. During the course of the last 5 years or so, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. During our last blowout argument, where my wife was pushing me to talk to her, I said I would rather divorce her than do what she wanted me to do. For the record, it was to apply to higher-paying jobs. I have a graduate degree, but I've been biding my time for the right position to find me rather than going out there to look for anything. My wife got upset, who then called my mother, crying and complaining about me. Again, she was sick and the doctor told her she needed to avoid stress. I laid into my wife and lost a fair amount of respect for her. She asked me for a divorce and it seems like that's where we were headed. But after a couple months, we were communicating better, that seemed to melt away and we became loving again. My wife did end up apologizing to my mother and they were on good terms. My mother took a turn for the worst and sent my wife a check to be used for airfare for Christmas to come visit. However, the terrible inevitable has happened and my mother passed. My wife flew me down to be with my mom before the end, but not before, in my opinion, starting an argument about my drinking. The disagreement started 2 days before the emergency flight and subsided the next day because I refused to talk to her about it. When I got home and she asked about flying to my hometown for the holidays, I told her that she needed to use the check mom sent in her name for my half of the mortgage and she would need to pay for her airfare out of her own pocket. In my view, that money is coming from my parents, therefore it's mine. This way she's still benefiting. It's going towards the house. When I told my wife this, I could tell she was upset, but she didn't press the issue. I can see why I would be the a-hole, but considering it's going to be a shared expense, I think it's a wash. Am I the a-hole for claiming the cash?
Here are the top comments.
If I were his wife, I would survive the divorce much more readily than survive a romantic relationship where I was treated like the enemy.
You're the a-hole for a lot of things. A job is not going to find you. If you are struggling financially, you are not in a position to sit and wait for a raise or promotion. Be proactive. Would it have hurt to just look at openings or job postings? There's no harm in applying and interviewing while you have your current job. Your mom's gift is still a gift, meant for your wife's use in the way she outlined. It's not money that you inherited and can decide how to use now that she's passed.
You're the a-hole. Your mother gave that money for a specific reason. Even with her death, you don't have the authority to dictate the use of the funds. Also, your wife is correct. No job is going to magically find you. You need to apply for better work. Your wife is struggling and has lost respect for you as a man. You've got to get it back or you might as well divorce.